And we are back with another episode of the Hockey Princess podcast. I am your host, the Hockey Princess. We have Crusty Old Guy once again. Folks, we are back from our travels. We might still be a little tired, a little slap happy from no sleep, but that's okay. But we are back. We are back. Crusty, how you feeling?
Ah, it was a whirlwind. I'm feeling good. I went to Havana for dinner last night and then was in bed not too shortly after that. And
Hmm.
yes, I was able to get plenty of rest on the grounds the last couple days of our trip. It's killed me.
Yeah. Um, but we'll get into our trip in a minute when we talk about the big club. Some NHL news is out. The wild card still is absolutely bonkers. I think this is going to be one of the years where, especially that second wild card seed for the East and the West, is going to be figured out game 82 of 82. I don't think this is going to be locked up before then. But one matchup that is locked up for the postseason is we have the Dallas Stars facing off against the Minnesota Wild for the first round. This is going to be very entertaining because for those that are new to hockey, um, the Dallas Stars essentially is Minnesota's first team that was relocated. So it's Minnesota's first team versus the actual Minnesota team. But that is going to be one very, very fun matchup. Christy, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to watch some playoff hockey. And that one should be pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I will definitely be ready. That should be phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in to see what the Twin Cities does as far as all of this. I've got to figure with as creative as everybody seems to be lately, there could be some funny stuff put out. You know, as you kids like to say, that content.
The
I would
content.
assume there'll be plenty of content. So, and it should be a good series. Dallas is really tough, though.
Dallas is very tough. And, with playoff hockey means, Christy, we get more Robo to watch, which is always great on this show.
Yeah, and that's the other underlying factor for that series is Robo was denied a USA gold medal by the GM of the Minnesota Wild. I'm sure he has nothing to prove.
Go
So,
Robo. As always, go Robo.
yes, I'm a Robo fan. So,
So that one should be pretty entertaining. Like I said, the rest of them, we have teams that have clinched, but I think that's the only, Chris, you can correct me if I'm wrong, matchup that is completely set in stone. I think everything else is a little too tight. Um, and the wild cards are an absolute mess. Who knows? We're going to find that out game 82. I wouldn't be surprised if this was one of those like a few years ago where, one team sneaks in to that second wild card spot, not because of their own playing, but because of, an upset of a different game. You also have a lot of those teams. So the final day of the season is April 16th. You have a lot of teams that are fighting for those wild card spots that are playing against each other that final day as well. So that all should be pretty gosh darn entertaining.
yeah, I mean, it looks like Utah in, and then there'll be a fight for that last wild card spot between Nashville, the Kings, maybe San Jose and Winnipeg.
Come on, Johnny.
You've got about win out, and then in the East, the Flyers are on a tear right now. They're not even in a wild card setting. They are in third in your Metro.
Yeah.
So, and then for that last spot, shit, you've got the Islanders, Detroit, Columbus, Ottawa, all fighting for one. I think Washington done. Islanders almost done. You're 3 points back, but not impossible.
Speaking of the Islanders,
Did you set it up, knock it down? That's right. This isn't
exactly.
my first rodeo, kids.
Gosh, if you thought the Bruce Cassidy Tortorella firing switcheroo was a little too late in the season, may I present to you Patrick Roy out, Pete DeBoer in. Fascinating. These late season changes are very entertaining to me personally. There's talk of, there wasn't like a big situation because everybody was kind of like, well, did Roy lose the locker room? Because as we talk on the show, he can't be the easiest guy to play for, just because he's a very intense man. But no, they really didn't come out and say why. Not that I was expecting them to. But Pete DeBoer is in for the New York Islanders, and it is expected that Pete DeBoer is in with potential, with term. So this is not like a Vegas situation where, Torts is in for the last handful of games and maybe a playoff push and then it's TBD. Pete DeBoer is in with term. I guess the New York Islanders, really wanted to switch something up and didn't want to wait until the off season because they were pretty much figuring that Pete DeBoer was going to be scooped up by somebody in the off season, because I don't expect this is the only head coaching change that we are going to see prior to like next October. I think we are going to see some switches throughout the NHL, and I guess they just really wanted to grab DeBoer before he got scooped up by a different team.
Yeah, that all makes complete sense. I didn't even think about it in the terms that you just discussed. The fact that, they're looking to get rid of Waugh anyways. And if DeBoer's your guy, then yeah, you get in before the bidding starts on him, before he gets any offers. That tracks, as the kids say. I don't think the kids say that anymore. I think they say something else. It was 100%. Then it tracks. I don't know what the new one is. Krusty's usually about 4 things behind that all mean the same thing. That makes sense, but you have to have a cool word for it. All right, I'll just continue on. I think the Islanders hoping for that, what they call that coaching bump, to maybe finish out the season undefeated and maybe get a chance for a playoff spot.
Yeah.
No truth to the rumor yet. That's what we call a dramatic pause in the business.
Krusty's going to say this, but it's a rumor that he's just coming up by himself to just start stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The king of rage baiting.
But no truth to the rumor yet that Sorokin did go to management after he was left in for over 7 goals and said either him or me. But could it be possible? Sure. I knew a goaltender that once did that. He got lit up and left in, and then he decided he wasn't going to play for that team anymore. Same guy who 3 weeks before the season started left his team high and dry and just left because he wasn't happy with his boss. Could you imagine that? Not being happy with your boss? Oh, I don't want to be here. So, and for your listeners, anybody gets a free shirt if they can enter into you and say who that is. DeBoer is a good coach. Islanders are on the rise. You probably, when it's all said and done, probably have the most dynamic young player in the game. And that's saying
I was just kind of fascinated that, if the rumor was true of, Sorokin having an issue with being kept in, hiring the guy who essentially got fired from his last job by throwing his star goaltender under the bus when they got eliminated from playoff contention. That doesn't make sense to me. But we're still not bitter at all about the comments that were made about poor Otter.
Yeah, and again, hockey's a weird business. You try to push buttons.
Yeah.
Q, when he was here, was phenomenal at pushing buttons. There was nobody who would push more buttons in a game 5 by sitting people than Q. at the end of the day, I believe coaches like Roy, as we like to call him, it's just that message and just the constant gets old after a couple years. In professional players just have no need for it in their world anymore.
I'm curious though because it seems like sure, like the rah rah rah. But then there's one head coach who has made his rah 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 kind of his shtick and seems to be very pretty successful doing it. I mean, Rod is kind of very rah rah.
But I consider Rod is not from a negative aspect.
Okay.
Roy just at the end of the day almost he seems angry.
He leads with negativity.
He
In
leads
like
with
the intent.
negativity and anger. I think Rod just lays it on the table. His bar's all the way up here. He expects a ton out of. But I don't hear him throwing players underneath the bus as much as possible. I am sure maybe on one-on-ones he has a nice talk.
So does
And
everybody.
right, and I think there's that level with Rod, even after a couple years, that you're like, he's a player's coach still, and you don't want to. At the end of the day, you don't want to disappoint him.
Right.
I think with Patrick Waugh, they don't care if they disappoint him or not. It seems to be about him anyways. So, yeah, I consider them a little different in that regard.
No, that
It's
makes sense.
it's just a lot to hear all the time. These are long careers,
Yeah.
and that's why I think for Patrick, it works well on a junior level. 2 years in, they're gone. New batch, 2 years, they're gone. The message doesn't get completely awful because right about the time it does, you get to
You're
leave.
gone.
So, no, again, I've made my feelings felt on this show before about him, so I'm pretty happy about it. And it kind of stinks that much of a talented player you don't get to continue coaching because he's a fun difference maker.
Yeah. Other big NHL news, we have a GM firing for the New Jersey Devils with Fitzgerald. I asked our friend Neil over at Devil's State of Mind kind of their thoughts, just because they've been, they definitely have their opinions because obviously it's their team. So this is, I just asked for their thoughts. Neil said this had to happen. There's too many mistakes he made that got the Devils to being as stale as they are. They need a new perspective and leadership, someone who's going to be more cutthroat and be aggressive in turning the team into a true cup contender. Obviously, Neil knows what he's talking about because he runs a New Jersey Devils podcast, but I also do agree because it seems, at least the past couple of years, there was a high expectation to make moves, to do something, to do anything, be it around the trade deadline, free agency, just throughout the year. And if they did make moves, it kind of was like how Krusty likes to throw it out a lot, a nothing for nothing trade. There wasn't really anything substantial that they have done in terms of moves that it's like, okay, we made this big move to take us to the next level. Some can also say, not landing Quinn Hughes probably didn't help whatsoever, but they've been, as Neil says, they've been kind of stale the past couple of years. They really haven't been doing anything. Granted, they've been their top guys have been consistently injured the past couple of years, but you've kind of just stayed put. So I'm really interested to see, one, is this the only management turnover that we're going to see from the New Jersey Devils? Is there going to be more of an overhaul during the offseason? And two, if there is more of an overhaul and you get kind of a clean house in terms of management, what moves does the next person make? Or does New Jersey get interesting come off season?
Yeah, I think the old G is it Fitzgerald or Fitzpatrick or Fitz something.
Fitzgerald.
We'll just call him Fitz. No tantrums, just fits. He made a bunch of moves expecting this team to continue to rise. This was the supposedly gold standard, 4 years ago? That everybody said, this is how you do it. This team is going to continue to rise and be on top of the league for a while. Well, none of that happened. He got caught up in a lot of, no movement clauses, limited, 6-team, no movement. So he couldn't move anybody. So the team was going to stay stale because you don't have the ability to move anybody around. At the end of the day, were the decisions bad? Some good, some bad. He was doing what he thought to put this team over the hump. And it didn't work. Well, in this business, once it doesn't work, you're gone. You can't move the players. They're stuck here. So they've got work to do. They've got young talent. They've got plenty of talent, just have never reached the potential of that first year when you really thought things were going to take off. And somebody's got to pay the price, usually the GM first. So there you have it. And it's a way to cool your fan base a little bit.
Yeah. And then final NHL news, we have the Masterton Award nominations that were announced either this morning or yesterday. For those who don't know, it is one of the NHL awards, and it is for perseverance, sportsmanship. Every team does get one nomination. For the Chicago Blackhawks, it is Spencer Knight. You also have a couple of other notable, every guy that is on the list is notable, but you have Spencer Knight, Jonathan Taves, you have Linus Ullmark with the Ottawa Senators. It was nice to see Spence get the nomination with what he has gone through the past couple of years prior to coming to Chicago. Obviously, you have Johnny coming back to the NHL, Ullmark, everything that he has endured. You also have Rasmus Dahlin on the list for Buffalo. So that is one of the NHL awards that will come out mid-June, end of June. I don't know when the NHL awards are. The same week as draft weekend.
Yeah, always a very cool award. We always tend to look at and go, oh my God, these guys have it made. Well, as we know, they get paid a lot of money, but nobody has it made.
Yeah.
For the most part, everybody has personal issues. Everybody has family issues and stuff like that. And this is a way to say, hey, we understand kind of what you went through, and each team gets to nominate somebody. Johnny, his 2 years are very well known, but everybody's got stuff to deal with. Just because you're making a good amount of money and playing a sport that we just look at, everybody's got crap to go through. So
yeah,
that's all.
And then other bit of news, because Blackhawks were eliminated from playoff contention. What? Draft lottery is May 5th. So we can start getting chatty about stuff after May 5th. Jumping to, actually, before we get to Prospect Report, I wanted to jump over to the P-Dub really quick, just because we're approaching the last couple of weeks of the P-Dub season. Final game is April 25th. For new P-Dub fans, or just new hockey fans in general, the postseason is the top 4 out of 8, so the P-Dub has 8 teams total. It's going to be the top 4 for the playoffs. The number 1 seed, so as of right now, it's the Montreal Victoire, gets to choose if they want to match up against the number 3 seed for the first round or number 4 seed. So they get the option, and then 2 plays whomever. You also have the gold plan once everything is kind of locked up. And I really, really wish the NHL would adapt this, because I think the gold plan is absolutely fantastic. And it eliminates all of these stupid tank theories and tank wishes. So the gold plan is, once a team is eliminated from playoff contention, They still follow the same point rule in the PW, which is 3 points. It's the 3-2-1 rule, and the team that at the end of the season has the highest amount of points post being eliminated from playoff contention gets the number one pick. So there is no lottery. There is no last team gets to pick first. It is the best of the worst, essentially, that gets that number one pick. So as of right now, if everything is kind of all done and dusted, the Ottawa Charge gets to pick either Layla Edwards, KK Harvey, or Abby Murphy. And so, yes, Christy.
Okay, I'm trying to understand this.
Yes.
Okay, so say with 10 games to go, Ottawa is been eliminated.
Yes.
So then they start to collect points for that top spot, correct?
Yes.
Now, another team, it might take them, they don't get eliminated until like game 7 with 7 left. They don't start collecting points until they're mathematically eliminated?
I believe so.
Uh-oh. There's Krusty going, asking questions on a show that we might not all know the answer to. I would like that looked into and figured out.
I would believe so. However, whoever gets eliminated first is going to be sitting 8th. And so you already have to jump on top of the standings anyway. So it's not like who you want to get eliminated first to then try to bounce back out.
That's my question. Is it the number 5 point for the season, or is it since the elimination? Since elimination they have a point system?
Yes.
Who's ever got the most points?
Then
that would lead me to believe that it's the who's ever eliminated first gets to start collecting points right away. But I would like you to double check that. That is a phenomenal tool.
That point discrepancy, though, between, is ginormous. So it's not like you want to tank to then try to collect points.
Right, but even if you do, it's harder than all of a sudden just turn it on for it. Granted, you'll have an advantage of starting earlier.
Yeah, but you can't turn...
Yeah, so... I like that. That's kind of neat. I'd like to know how that would play out with us. That would be very, very interesting.
Yeah.
As interesting as you get to pick who you play.
That is the big thing for the number 1 seed. So I think as of right now, it is the Montreal Victoire will get to pick either the Minnesota Frost or number 4 seed isn't locked up yet. As of right now, it's the Toronto Scepters, but Ottawa's very close behind, only 1 point behind Toronto. And then Boston will play whomever, because the top 3 are locked up as your Montreal Victoire for the number 1, Boston Fleet for the number 2, and then Minnesota Frost is the number 3 seed.
Yeah, that is all neat.
I love it. So that will start right after the end of the regular season. So they finish up the end of April, and then they'll jump straight to the postseason. It has not been announced, because I know that is also this is the hottest question for new PW fans, hockey fans in general. When is the PWHL draft? When do we get to watch and see where Abby Murphy, KK Harvey, Layla Edwards, where does Sims go? It has not been announced yet. Last year they went the same week as the NHL draft, so I would expect that week, the last week in June, maybe the end of the week prior. So any time really between June 18th to the 25th, I would expect in that week you're gonna look for the PWHL draft, but it has not been announced yet. When it is announced, I will be shouting from the rooftops, because heck, we might even go live for that. It would be very, very exciting. There will be expansion news coming within the next couple of weeks. I do not know how expansion works within the draft, so we're going to learn about that once we get expansion rules. But But expansion teams are coming for next year. We will just get that within the next couple of weeks.
And that could make a difference between a number one pick or not. They could pick first, maybe. We don't
I
know,
don't think
correct?
they get to pick first. I think it's still, I think they get slid in somewhere, but I know they don't then get to take the number one pick. Because even when Seattle and Vancouver were expansions last year, you had the New York Sirens taking Kelton Kova as the number one overall pick.
Okay. Well,
So,
then I still think they'll need to do some moving around or whatever else. But, like with the Spencer Knight moving and everything, it just works out nicely if you can have some big names in each place.
yeah,
That is how, you need superstars to grow the game a little bit.
absolutely.
So
Good thing we have a bunch of superstars coming in the draft, too.
exactly. That's why you'd love them to be on an expansion team just for the fact that now they've got one. So,
Yeah.
but
Jumping to prospect report, we don't have a ton because either kids' seasons are done, they're in Chicago, or they're in Rockford. But starting off, we have 2 assists with Jack Pridham out of the Kitchener Rangers. Kitchener moves on to the second round, and they will start playing Sault Ste. Marie on Friday. Nothing from Merrick Vanacker, just because they only had 1 game after we recorded last week. But Brantford Bulldogs are set to play North Bay in the second round today at the time of recording, which is Wednesday, May 8th, or not May 8th, April 8th. 1 assist for AJ Spellacy with the Windsor Spitfires. They move on to the second round to play the Flint Firebirds starting Friday. 4 points in 5 games so far with Roman Kanserov. They are currently in the semifinals in the KHL playoffs against Torpedo. And then Mason West finishes off with the USHL Fargo Force with 25 points in 38 games. They are done. Fargo is not going to the USHL postseason. So he is done until he goes to Michigan State next year, which would be very exciting. Jumping to Rockford, not really a ton of news. We had a split. Adam Guyon dressed, but he hasn't played yet for Rockford. He backed up Rodriguez this past weekend. So you had 1 win, 5-2, and then a loss Saturday, 0-4. On to the big club.
we're done with prospects?
Yeah,
Okay.
unless you have any prospect information.
I've got a ton of stuff that I just pulled up,
Oh my goodness.
but
Guys,
we're not
it's
going to
not
worry
April
about it.
Fools.
I believe this is probably the Athletic. But I believe the Athletic is stating that we have the number 4 prospect pool in the league.
Who's at number 1?
That I do not know. I can't seem to be able to pull this up. But I know you have the Sharks in there. I'm sure the Canadians are close. I will attempt to know more.
Washington Capitals.
Yeah, the Capitals might be there too. We've got most of our prospects are right now playing, your top ones. You got Frendel, Rinzel, so.
Sasha.
Yeah. That's about it for the prospects. I will read up more as I get that full list and have that more ready for next week, as we can talk a little bit about that and probably get ourselves playoff ready.
Yep. Jumping into the big club.
I like how you skipped over Rockford. That's good work.
I talked about Rockford. You weren't paying attention.
I was, and I was looking up other stuff. Bad me. Go on. Sorry for the speed bump.
We had first game was Edmonton. Christy, did you want to talk about the Edmonton game? Was there any thoughts or feelings that you had about the Edmonton game?
No real thoughts or feelings. I mean, Edmonton took it kind of easy on us. We had a whole 18 shots. They had 38. They kind of dominated play the whole time. The Lardass with another goal that kind of went off somebody. Or that might have been his 5-hole goal, one of the two.
Really happy that Lardis did not break his hand.
Yes, really happy that Lardis did not break his hand. It really seemed like it was.
Yeah.
So we can easily now question, his pain tolerance level. Never mind. Um,
Yeah, we're not questioning anything. I'm pretty sure if you get hit in your hand, you're going down too.
oh yeah, we don't need to question my pain tolerance level, which is high, everyone. Um, no, it was a respectable 3-1 score in a game that they were never in doubt of winning. So kind of a little bit better than the shellackings they had been taking.
Yeah.
So I guess the best way to put it is it wasn't 5-1.
Yeah.
Again, for Edmonton, the Savoy kid with his 15th
Matthew
goal,
Savoie.
and the Podolskin. These are all relatively young kids, also. So, again, as I continue to throw out to your listeners, just remember, just because we have prospects coming up, so does everybody else.
Yes, but I believe the Savoie kid was not a Edmonton prospect.
No, he came via trade. I maybe
Buffalo.
win a Buffalo.
Buffalo.
So, but that's how you can get things done. I'll talk a little bit more on that maybe at the end of the show, but that's about it for the Edmonton game.
Then we had our trip.
Yes, we had our
We
trip.
ventured to Seattle. Um, the climate pledge definitely lived up to its hype. There was just high hype from either Kraken fans or Torrent fans that we've talked to. Um, Very nice, very new. Obviously, it was built the last couple of years prior to the Kraken existing. It was very, very nice, pretty rink. Um, Layout still confuses me. There were a couple of times that we got lost just because it was confusing. Kirsty, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it was certain ways that you couldn't just get up where the United Center escalator goes up. There's a level, goes up, goes up.
Yeah.
The escalator went. It was like Hogwarts. There was like levels going up, but they only went up 3, and then you couldn't get down to 2. It became very, very confusing for us. Lucky for us, when we first went to our seats, we just used the elevator.
Mm-hmm.
But
But
trying
even
to
then,
track,
we had a hard time finding the elevator.
yes, and trying to track down Hockey Princess's friends after the game, it became one heck of a crazy situation for them and us.
Yeah.
Nobody could figure out how to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And obviously it's a problem because the people that were helping us said, yeah, it's really crazy. It's a very difficult rink to maneuver from level to level. But besides that, a nice rink. I really enjoyed it. Fan base, okay, they're figuring it out
They're
slowly
new.
but surely. Yeah, they're new. I expected a little bit more energy wise for a team who was at that point in time still in a playoff hunt, but again, you're just growing it. That you understand more after a playoff or two and a hope, but yeah, I really like the rink.
Yeah, really great rink. People around us were pretty nice, even though we were screaming a little bit. We just got a little excited by the Sasha goal. But even when I told them why we were screaming a little bit, they were like, no, that makes sense. You're fine. Which, thank you.
Yeah, for me, I try not to be too obnoxious as a road fan. Again, it's hard to be obnoxious when your team's awful, but I throw a little respect
Hmm.
to the other people in the building. But you still get up when your team scores. I still get a tiny bit mouthy, and I definitely got mouthy for the Sasha goal. Just the
You
fact,
had to.
it's the first goal in the NHL. You want to give them a little extra.
Exactly. It's a big deal. But yeah, very fun game. Loved the whole, because I had seen like videos of the pre-game videos and stuff. Guys, I finally got to see Bowie in person. Fantastic. All lived up to the hype. Um, but yeah, that's got to be. I don't know if that beats the Bell Center for me, but it's definitely up there in terms of just like overall cool game experiences.
Oh yeah, it doesn't come close to beating the Bell Center for me. As far as production, yeah, it's high up. It's not Vegas, but it's nice, and again, it's a really cool rink. Yeah, I don't know exactly what that guy's supposed to be, but Tommy Hawk was in attendance too,
Yep.
playing along and hamming it up. They had some kind of mascot thing like we do occasionally, where the rest of their mascots were there, and of course, Tommy's always up for working, so
Yeah.
he made the flight, not with us. And again, no real stories to tell as far as the flight or meeting people, I don't believe.
No, I think our hockey horseshoe ran out meeting an Olympian the week prior.
Yeah, but I will take that trade any day of the week.
Absolutely.
And then, that third goal, Sasha's first goal, that was a Landon Slaggert special.
Yeah.
That is, on a good day, what you want. That is what Landon Slaggert can give for you. Maybe a third line player as a shutdown winger or a fourth liner. Constant energy, constant movement. Just hounding. Hound. He plays a solid defensive game. Again, as far as our prospects, we got a lot like that. You have to set yourself apart, either just being that much better defensively or the ability to put the puck in the net or keep shifts going like he did and somebody
Yeah.
else gets the score. So besides that, a good game.
That Bloom played great.
Yeah, Bloom was out of his mind, probably again, like this team for the most part. Any win they get is usually a Goldie win.
I
They're
kept
just
telling Krusty, Bloom heard about the Guyon signing and took that personally in Seattle.
Yeah, the Bloom will be in an interesting position. Whether what they do with him, for me, unless that rebound control gets better, there will be issues. He has to be able to hold on to the puck better. There's been games, it's been written, well, he's facing 40 shots. Some of those 40 are on him for not holding the puck or
Right.
putting it to a better location. That's my biggest beef with Bloom, but he looked awfully good in Seattle.
Yeah. Very, very good.
So, and I believe that was the start of our wonderful 5-forward power play.
It was not the beginning of the 5 forward power play because we ran that in Jersey. Um, I'm gonna get on my high horse again. Guys, the 5 forward power play doesn't work.
Oh my God, there's everybody on the X, Y, and Z and every
Everyone
place
is loving it,
saying you're
including
wrong.
coach is loving it. Everyone loves it. It doesn't work. I think every time I've seen the 5 forward power play, somebody from the opposing team is able to take the puck and just run with it. I think maybe at a point when some of the prospects have grown into their ability and maybe have stronger puck possession as a whole, maybe it does work. But running a 5 forward power play with a bunch of kiddos that have some defensive struggles from time to time and struggle holding onto the puck against some, solid veterans like a Jaden Schwartz or a Matty Beniers, it doesn't work. It's not working. It doesn't work. Not yet. I don't want to say not ever, but we're not good enough to run a 5 forward power play. And even if you are good enough, look at Vegas. Vegas has been struggling all year. And those are seriously talented guys that have been in the league for a while. And they can't get a 5 forward power play to work. What makes us think that we're different? It's not working. It really doesn't work. It's kind of stupid.
Okay, everything that I have read, since we can now easily segue to the San Jose game that me and Hockey Princess had to watch on an iPad because we had scaled Mount Rainier all day, and
Yep.
were exhausted and shot, and that's right, we were both pretty crabby.
Yeah.
And we had a 6 a.m. flight. But yeah, everybody that I've said, oh my God, this is it. We have it. Now the Blackhawks have a power play.
It's not!
My first thing, what time frame are we in, boys and girls? That's right, the last 15 games of the year. Nobody gives a shit. And yes, that's even people that are fighting for a playoff position. You as a team you are the second worst in the league. You don't care if they go the other way and score. It's not important. Points aren't important. It's a different feel. That's why I do not put any credence into anything that happens here as far as evaluating this team. Number one. Number two, did it look good against San Jose? Yes, it did. San Jose, also one of the worst penalty kills in the league. So yeah, those things are going to happen. That's a defensively flawed team to begin with. Then you've got power play time. Can it work? I don't know. I think it's too big of an ants. The Beacon of Hope looks good on the point. He is a very good distributor along with that shot. I just think it becomes too much, and you can really lose games outright with a shorthanded goal against, and I don't think there'll be enough. So you still have to figure out where is the best spot for the Beacon of Hope now. That's my concern. Because he can do it all. What do I want him to do? And that needs to be carried to him. What we expect on the power play from him. Are you planning to load up with Frondell and Lardass on each side? If you are, then he's just supposed to be a playmaker. Okay, but I feel as a facilitator, that can be easily done by a defenseman. Whether that's Kaiser, whether that's Artie, whether that's Renzel.
Also, I thought the whole point of getting some of these high up defensive prospects was, oh, they can run the power play. Oh, they can learn to run the power play. Now, granted, Artie's the exception because he's, chilling at home with a broken hand. Now you have none of them running the power play?
Correct.
What was the point? What was the point?
Again, we're in that 15 game period, and I don't think they care either. They want some excitement. If they give up, the coaching staff even, if they give up 3, we have 4 games left. If they give up 3 shorthanded goals in the next 4 games, I don't think they care. If I can show some excitement, which you'll be able to do a little bit more with 5 forwards, they're okay with it. I think that'll be an adjustment made going into next year. You need to figure out which defensemen, and their roles need to be determined more. Starting with 98. What do you want him to do? Okay? And then you build from there. You have some people with good one-time shots, Lardass and Frondell. Okay? And you have a very good net front presence guy. So, do they all play together? Do they all not? Do you split it up and have 2 solid units? That's an off-season thing, so I think we're just messing around now.
I think we've been messing around. I think this is a wasted year.
Well, they've all been wasted years, Hockey Princess. I don't know what to tell you.
How is that exciting? You say you want exciting hockey. Whatever.
Yes.
I don't know why we're starting now. How is giving up shorthanded goals exciting? How is losing exciting hockey?
We're already losing. Okay, so
But now you're intentionally losing.
We've been intentionally losing. This is all stuff that's been happening. Okay? So we've had all of that. If I can make this a little bit exciting, I get to then sell the future of, oh my God.
But how is it exciting?
Because it looked really good against San Jose. They had at least 1 power play goal, and the second one, the guy came out of the box 2 seconds later. So
It's exciting that we looked good against the worst penalty kill
yes,
in the league.
yes. Well, you've got a lot of people that don't mention it's one of the worst penalty kills in the league, and it's depending on what kind of information everyone has. Not everybody has this kind of information or wants to hear it. So that's how that's what's exciting. If it's a shorthanded goal against, it's like, oh, they scored on us again. Whatever. Who cares? Again, for this team, we have not started our come up from the bottom.
No.
Now, people are telling me that, well, we've got more points than we did last year, so there's improvement. And I can easily say 3 years ago, we were the worst team. We were the third worst team in the league. We won the lottery, right? 2 years ago, we were the second worst team. And again, this year, we are the second worst team. So to me, there's no improvement. You've stayed in the same place. Okay? And if you look towards next year, I don't know how many teams you think you're crawling over, but it's no more than like 3. So you're still looking at a bottom 5 finish with this team as it's constructed. Sorry.
I have a question for anyone that watches us that is a Buffalo fan. How do y'all do it? How did y'all do it for so much time? I think I appreciate Buffalo Sabre fans more the more I have to sit through this bullshit.
Well, the Sabres are a different animal, though, and we haven't gotten to the Sabres neighborhood yet just because we're bad. When you really look at the product, you understand that we're bad. Now, the Sabres, for the last 5 years, you've had that constant tease that they're not bad. They've got some people with good amount of NHL experience. They shouldn't be this bad, and yet they were still bad. We haven't gone into that phase yet. It's coming up after next year that then you have high expectations, and then it's really difficult for a fan base because I know how we've handled it here, and it's just you go with the flow. It becomes funny. The mistakes become funny. But I think Sabre fans the last 3 or 4 years, it's not funny anymore. And you get a little tease at the beginning of the year and then it falls apart again. I think then you go back to the anger.
Yeah.
So that's just for me. I understand that it's all part of the process. There's just not a lot of talent there. And that becomes, I don't know, I'm looking for a fancy word that I can't think of. But basically, once there's a couple injuries, it really shows all the cracks. So, again, it's Bash doing things, making it fun. I think it is fun for those 5 forward out there. You're just trying to get to the finish line now. And whatever excitement you can take away, that's what you want to do. So they played decent against San Jose. Still probably gave up a ton of 2-on-1 and 3-on-2 chances. And to Darren Pang again, on that third San Jose goal, you sat there and told me it was because of a line change and the young kids would figure that out. Go back and watch the replay, Darren. There's 4 Blackhawks and 3 Sharks for a good 15 seconds in the zone. We had 1 extra player. Okay, it had nothing to do with the shift. It had to do with they didn't know where to be and were clueless. Okay, just call it out like that. They're clueless. Okay, they lost structure. It happens. But to say, but again, we're in that spot too. So again, Spence played pretty well. Again, I didn't get my full feeling. It was on the iPad. We were both very crabby.
Yeah. But mountains were pretty cool.
Yes, Mount Rainier was, or Rainer, I don't know exactly how I'm supposed to say it, was a ball. I suggested highly for Krusty, Since we went to Colorado, I've had to reevaluate how we kind of maybe do things. Because we went to Colorado and then to Edmonton, but didn't spend a lot of time in Not Colorado, Calgary.
Calgary.
And did not spend a lot of time in Calgary. And then later in the trip or at some point in time, then I see this Banff place that was like an hour and a half away and go, oh, for the love of God, why didn't we go there?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure this out a little better. So, every place has a lot of cool things to see. So it might be good to check them out occasionally.
Yep.
So I thought it was a big win for us in Seattle.
No, very big win.
You got any thoughts on the San Jose game?
No, it was what it was. Like you said, it's kind of the last handful of games. I think we're all just trying to get to the finish line. I also know that, guys, I'm not in the most happy disposition right now with watching these games, and partially that's just because, my team's not doing very well, and the F1 is on a 5-week break, so I don't have... Usually I've got one going for me pretty well at one time right now, and it's just a little bit of nothing. It kind of feels like how the month of August usually feels. But yeah, it was rough. I'm glad that we've got at least like a handful of home games left, whether they're good or bad. They'll definitely tide us over for a bit. Very excited. We've got a fun weekend with the Hall of Fame ceremony that we're going to on Friday, and then there's also one on Saturday before the game against St. Louis. And maybe we just had to lose against San Jose so we don't get embarrassed against St. Louis on Saturday.
Yeah, because they'll be coming, and that's a team as of now.
Man, if Sasha can just go toe-to-toe with Logan Mailloux, that would be great.
Yeah, well, I think you might get a little something out of that game. And again, there'll be a lot of big-time people in attendance. I would assume also some St. Louis alum that'll probably be around also. A lot of league-wide respect for Troy. So this will be a little celebration of Troy's life. A tiny bit also, especially on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So
figure maybe we get a Pat Maroon.
I would assume you get a Pat Maroon, no doubt about it. I think you'll get even more than that. And Pang, having done so much work in St. Louis, I'm thanking baby Jesus that I don't have to. I won't have to listen to any of it. I'll just be at the game, so that'll be nice for me. Hooray!
Woohoo!
And we'll see what else they do. I guess we should mention the Barracuda got sat. I didn't see anything of the rumor that you put out that he was actually late. I don't know if that was confirmed. Either way, he needed to be benched anyways.
Maybe they just threw out that rumor. But yeah, I didn't see anything.
Yeah, and I will say the hardest working man in hockey writing came out with one of his latest articles, and that would be Ben Pope for people who don't follow the show. Got a lot of respect for Ben. Ben puts in the work. There's one or two articles a day which are pretty darn very good every day, and that's hard to do on a second to last place team. And Ben is incredible. If I were to suggest anything besides this show, giving a couple dollars to the Sun-Times and getting all of Ben's articles is well worth it. But even Ben came out and said, I think it's time for a buyout. There just will not be any place for him there.
Right.
It just hasn't worked. I even got a little bit excited with the way he handled zone entry. But now it's been 6 months of just dog crap, and I don't see how you turn around and bring him back. You buy him out, you move on. If you need to, you get another Ryan Ellis to get you to the cap floor. So,
or just like sign a player that plays.
Yeah, I think they're still scared about that. I believe there's still some fear of signing some. If you sign somebody more than a couple years, If it's a UFA, it's going to be big money. If it's trade wise, it's going to be big assets. That's a big boy trade.
Do
Kyle
it.
Davidson has not made one yet. So, that's a defining moment. So we will see. Yeah, there'll be personnel out there. We'll see how all of that goes. But he can't be part of this team. That's the only thing I'm sure of.
Yeah.
Is yes, definitely time for him to go.
Yep.
So
Chris, you got any other final thoughts for this week?
I don't believe Krusty's got any final thoughts. Looking forward to the end of the season. Should be in last fun 4 games. Hockey Princess will tell you where to go eat.
Yep.
That's my segue back.
Yes. Final things, because, as we are running down to the end bit of the Blackhawks season, if you are new to the podcast, just because the Blackhawks are done with hockey does not mean that we are. We do go year round. We'll shut down the Monday previews. We've got one more next week, and then that's it. But we'll shut down Monday previews and only go once a week during the off season. But we still go just because we're mental and we really don't have a life. So with that being said, if there are things that we have kind of like glossed over throughout the year, you have questions, you want us to bring back Blackhawk lore, you want hockey lore during the off season, you want guests that we had on to come back. If there's anything that you want us to talk about or bring back during the off season, let us know. Krusty and I have not kind of set up what we're doing for the off season. We will still be continuing, but the structure of what that looks like is not set. So just
And if
let us
anybody
know.
wants to be a guest on the show,
Yes.
I believe there will be an opening in like 3 or 4 weeks where I will not be able to be joining you by your side. I
Yep.
just don't think I am able to work that out in
Nope, we're not going to do that. So, yeah, we will have a new guest. I didn't even think about that. We will definitely have a guest within a couple of weeks. So, if you want to come on and just talk hockey or
Talking
sports
to you,
stuff,
maybe, Adam.
Yeah, maybe we'll get
Or
Adam
somebody,
back on.
somebody like that who could maybe wants to do during playoff kind of thing.
Yeah. So just let us know what you guys want to hear about during the off season. That is all, folks. Just as a reminder, make sure to hit that like and subscribe on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, however you watch or listen to us ramble on a weekly basis. If you're going to the last couple of home games this season, folks, please wait for the whistle. Do not get up while the puck's in play. The food will still be there. The beer will still be there. The bathroom will still be there. That is all, and we will talk to you guys next week.